Hello, welcome to another edition of Prove All Things. Want to thank everybody who's joining us today, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. For those of y'all, we definitely look forward to your live comments, and to everyone else watching on our CGI.org website or on the CGI Digital Network app, whether that's on your phone, tablet, or television. We thank you for joining us, and hello again to everyone most of the people who are listening to this or watching this as a webcast or podcast. We welcome you as well. I'm joined from California with co-host Mike James. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, Jeff, doing well. It's a little chilly here in California. This is the coldest it's been since I moved here. We got only a high in the mid 50s today. We got down to about 39 last night. So that's cold for us here.
So you might have to wear long sleeves for a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
That's always good to hear about that. So yeah, things are going well here. I'm looking forward to the Winter Family Weekend, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. That I'll be participating in Lexington, Kentucky, and that's part of the Common Faith Network
Right.
that sponsors the. I'll put that up there on the site if you want to. If you're interested, if you have that weekend it's the Friday before Christmas, running through I think Tuesday. That weekend is a weekend where there's like dozens of seminars, church services, uh, different studies that are going on. There's a quality church seminars, for leaders and people who are who want to make their church better that are there that is going on. There's basketball games, volleyball games, games for the kids. There's food. There's inflatables. There's so much. There's a lot. That's
I've
at
been
there.
there a couple times, and I agree with what Jeff is saying. It's a great time for church folks to get together and meet with each other and get to know each other. A really good time. I've been there twice, and I think great idea, Jeff, to mention that to folks who can get out there. Jeff, if you don't mind, I want to shout out to Christine from the UK. And Christine, if you can just let me know, are you with a group over there in the UK? Because if you're not, I'd like to connect you with a group. But if you are, that's fine also. So just a shout out to Christine in the UK, and I'll turn it back to Jeff here.
Yeah, it's always good to have people viewing from wherever they may be around the world, because we are broadcasting around the world because we're international. We're Church of God International, and our
Yeah.
church reaches around the world. Speaking of around the world, our guest today we've had on before. He was actually uh, recently him and some others stayed here at the house, and he's been part of Prove All Things before in the studio. But it's the first time we're having him remotely, and we have Robert Osando joining us live from Texas.
Hey,
Hello,
Robert.
Jeff. Hello, Jeff and Mike. I'm happy to be with you today again. And it's pretty cold here in Avenger, Texas. And I'm happy because my hosts, Mike and Diane, they're feeding me very well. And I'm like at home. I'm at home anyway. So I'm 8,600 miles away from my native land.
Yeah,
Wow.
so so
Wow.
so let the people know where you're from. Where you're 8,600 miles away from where?
Yes, thank you so much. It is Kenya. I come from Kenya. Kenya is a country in eastern part of Africa, and this is a country that is well known for long races. And be sure that when you see a Kenyan in any long race, that we are going to take the top three medals. That is the gold, silver, and the bronze. That is how Kenya is known. And by the way, just beside next to my home, 20 miles away, that is where we have a game reserve, all animals, all kinds of animals, elephants, giraffes, zebras. So that is Kenya. Kenya is a peaceful country, and that is where in Africa, that's where we harbor the United Nations offices, and yes, is among the 40 something countries of Africa.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, great. So yeah, Kenya. That's where uh, Is that Mount Kilimanjaro? Is that in Kenya or is that near Kenya? There,
Kilimanjaro is in Tanzania, but we are bordering between. Tanzania is just our neighbor, so
you can see it from there. You can see it from Kenya then. Okay. Gotcha. So very beautiful. I've seen a lot of videos and documentaries about Kenya and a lot of the wildlife there. It's definitely a beautiful country you come from. We're happy to have you on here again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Could you give us maybe a little bit of background? And I know you have a slideshow. The slideshow might go into your background as well. But we'd like to get some background so the viewers out there know a little bit more about why we brought you on this program, what you're doing, why you're in the church, and those type of things.
Thank you so much. I think you'll start rolling the slides. My name is Robert Onsando. Robert Onsando is a married man and with a very beautiful wife. She's always smiling anyway, and she makes our home very happy because that is how she looks like all the time.
Nice smile, nice smile, yeah.
That makes the home very happy, all the time.
Right.
So the next, I'm married. I have children. The next clip is my son Kevin, who is 32 years old. I think he's 31, going to 32. Then Dolphin is our second-born daughter. She's doing her master's degree, but she's also working somewhere in Nairobi. Our third daughter is Vivian. Vivian is almost through with her education in her university education. She's doing her final attachment. And then our last-born daughter is Naomi, who just joined university. In fact, she told me she's sitting for her first examination ever in the university. So that is how my family looks like.
Okay.
Hey, Robert, I gotta ask you. How did Dolphin get her name? Why did you name her Dolphin?
Dolphin. I know because we have the dolphins in the ocean. And we thought that she had just come out of somewhere out of the blue, and we love that. I love dolphins anyway.
That's a very pretty name, a unique name. I've never met anyone named Dolphin. So that's And as Gary says, I agree with Gary. Very nice looking family you have there.
Thank you. Yeah, the next clip. Now I have come from a Seventh-day Adventist background. That's where I was brought up. I grew up as a Seventh-day, very staunch as a literature evangelist. In the Seventh-day Adventists, they have what we call different categories of trainings as you grow up. That is the Pathfinders. So I went through all the ranks, and the highest one is what we call the Master Guide. And the uniform I'm on is the Master Guide. Master Guide is the topmost category in all those groups. So that means that I went through all these places. Where I was, I'd just gone to a school in the Maasai community to train them, and I brought some presents to them. Next clip.
Hey, Robert, real quick, do the Seventh-day Adventists do those programs in the United States? I don't recall ever seeing them wearing uniforms or things like that.
Yes, Mike, they do, and we actually have, like after 2 or 3 years, we have a major event where people come from all over the world to participate in that in the US, where we have the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Yeah.
So is that kind of like Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts like we have here?
Perfect. It is perfect. It's like a Cub. And what happens in the system is kids are trained in different, and they have badges. The badges, if you know how to swim, then you get a badge for swimming. If you know how to talk, public speaking, you get that. If you know how to ride a bicycle, you get that badge. So you must get so many of those badges. It's a training that helps one survive anywhere.
Oh, very, very interesting. Very, very cool.
Yeah, so that is the president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, is Pastor Ted Wilson. He had come to my country, and we had a good time with him. So that's how close I was to what we call the leadership of the church.
What year was that when he was there, Robert?
Wow, this was in the, I think in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah, this was in the early 2000s. So basically, I was a Seventh-day Adventist and a very strong one. And I moved from ranks to ranks because at the end of the day, I was in charge. This was in Dubai. We had gone for a meeting in Dubai, and I was representing Hope Channel Television because I'm a media person, and I was the Hope Channel manager in Kenya. Hope Channel is, we have, this is a television station that covers, actually we have branches in 112 countries in the whole world.
Oh,
Like
wow.
now we had Hope Channel Kenya, we had Hope Channel Tanzania, and like that. So I was representing Kenya this time in Dubai. But before I joined Hope Channel, just next clip, go to the next clip.
Yeah, I have a question about the Hope Channel. So is that that's a broadcast channel, or is that a cable channel, or how's that?
It is a broadcast channel. It's a broadcast channel where we had everything and would broadcast, do from zero to everything. And if you Google, if you go to the channels, you will get Hope Channel International. Then Hope Channel we have in, I think, Jamaica, we have Novo Tempo, and yes.
So that's an SDA channel then? They control that completely?
Yes, the Seventh-day Adventists control it completely. And, and you know, they pay for it and do programs in every country. Later on, I started doing programs for Hope Channel Africa. And Africa will do programs that were supposed to be put on air in all these other countries. So it's a world, it's almost in every country, actually. It's one way of preaching because they control what is going on air.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. Now, before I joined Hope Channel, I worked for ADRA. ADRA is Adventist Development Relief Agency. This is an NGO within the church that helps in developing of churches, building, you know, hospitals, and also relief when there is a disaster, calamity at some point. We would go and help out. So I was doing a program that we call female genital mutilation, or, you know, it's very common in my country. So I was fighting against that vice. But at this point in time, we had a problem in Kenya, and we had what you call post-election violence. It was in 2007 and 8. So I was in charge of one region trying to bring peace and getting out foodstuffs and non-foodstuffs to the community around that region. And so that's what ADRA used to do at that particular time.
Okay.
So I worked for ADRA. I worked in ADRA for 10 years before moving to Hope Channel Television, where I worked only for 5 years anyway. So after working in that channel, can you just go to the next clip? Yes, I was a media person. This was in South Africa. And I was working for Hope Channel. We had a meeting there. I'd gone for, this is Helderberg. Helderberg is in Cape Town, where we have headquarters of Seventh-day Adventists in the South Indian Division. So that is how I worked. And I was very strong in the church, by the way, until such a point where we could not agree on doctrines. Because we could not agree on doctrines, not leadership, nothing, but doctrines. And the doctrines, just to point 3 of them that made me a bit sad. One was about Jesus dying and being put on the cross on a Friday. Because for me, it could not add up. You know, I could try to calculate.
So they actually taught that Jesus was put on the cross on a Friday, even though they're Sabbath keepers.
Yes, they do. They do believe,
wow.
The Seventh-day Adventists do believe that Jesus was put on the cross on Friday. And actually, they really use what we call the Good News Bible. Because, you know, the Good News Bible is writes that it was Friday and the Sabbath was about to begin. So they have substituted.
Oh, so the Adventists have their own translation, like the Jehovah's Witnesses? I wasn't aware of that.
There is a Bible that they've already written that suits them, actually. If you go to find it. But again, you know, they have also adapted what is in the world about the Friday, because they also do participate in the Easter festivals. So when I
That's the
eventually,
question. Do they do Easter on a Sabbath or they do it on a Sunday?
the Easter is on a Sunday. Easter is on a Sunday, yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right.
So what happened is I had, after Hope Channel, I started my own television station called Mwanyagetinga Television. That was my own business, and I decided to do it.
Okay.
So one day I decided to do a presentation that confirms that Jesus did not die on a Friday and was not put on the cross on Friday.
Mhm.
Where did you learn that? If you were in the Adventist church, then how did you discover this?
I just had a problem because, you know, I'd started doing what you call, eventually I went into a theological school in the Seventh-day Adventist. That is University of Eastern Africa, Baraton. So in my class, you know, I had to study very hard. And I wanted to know the truth, because it could not dawn to me that Friday and Sabbath and you know, 3 days, 3 nights. Of course, I'd Googled and learned quite a little bit about the Matthew 12, 40 that talks about 3 days and 3 nights. And you know, when it's 3 days and 3 nights, that is so specific. So I did a presentation, and the presentation that I did, I was summoned to the headquarters, and they told me, do you know what? You are teaching doctrines that do not marry the Seventh-day Adventists. I told them that is true, because these are your doctrines. What I was teaching is from the Bible. And if you guys can confirm to me that from Friday to probably Sunday, the way it is put, then we'll get 3 days and 3 nights, I'll be comfortable.
Yeah. So question. Do the Seventh-day Adventists, do they keep holy days?
No, they do not keep the holidays. Of course,
yeah.
They keep what we call the camp meetings.
Okay, because what I know from holy days is if you understand the holy days, then you can understand why there's 2 Sabbaths in the week. I think and that's why they probably don't. I guess they don't acknowledge that.
There are a few things that have been picked by the Seventh-day Adventists. One is the Lord's Passover, but again, the Lord's Passover is 4 times quarterly, so they can decide which day they are going to celebrate it. And that was another problem that I had, because I know that it's a memorial. You don't pick any day for a memorial. And it's very specific in the Bible that it is once a year. And it's very specific. In fact, one of the books that Seventh-day Adventist books clearly says that it's not specified when one can celebrate the Lord's Passover. And then you go to Leviticus 23, verse 4 downwards. It's very clear on the 14th day. And we had a debate about that, so it could not work. So there are 2 things here. Number one, I've disagreed with them because Jesus did not die on a Friday and was not put on the cross on a Friday. And I had to prove to them that what makes me think otherwise. Number 2, about the Lord's Passover, I told them it cannot be any day. It is a specific day for me because it's a memorial. Luke 2:42 says Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem on a particular time because of the Lord's Passover. So that is so specific.
Now, Robert, just to interrupt you real quick. Do the Adventists take the Lord's Passover, the bread and the wine, on a monthly or a quarterly basis, or how often do they do that?
They do it on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
They do on a quarterly basis, and of course they call it Lord's Supper.
Do they do foot washing?
Did you do foot? Lord's Supper. Supper is normally taken in the evening. You guys, why do you take it at 11 during the day? Then you'd have called it Lord's Lunch, because then it does not work out for me. But of course, that brought also a lot of issues on my side.
Yeah, I have a question, Robert. Did you have foot washing? Was foot washing a part of the Lord's Supper, part of Passover in the Seventh-day Adventist?
Pardon?
Foot washing. Is foot washing a
Yes,
part of
yes,
it?
yes, yes. It is
They so
part of it. It's
they
part
did the
of it.
foot washing. They just washed
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
middle
they
of the
do.
day. Okay.
Yes, yes, they do. Now, the third and most confusing thing was about the 1844 and the heavenly sanctuary, because then those are the pillars of the Seventh-day Adventists, and the
Mhm.
moment you touch on that is like you're touching a live wire. And of
Ah.
course, I touched the live wire.
Robert, can you give a little background for our audience that may not be familiar with what the Adventists believe about that? Just a little synopsis on that.
Thank you. I'll do that very fast. Now, there is this man known as William Miller. William Miller was a Calvinist who became was later on became a Baptist member. But at one point, he decided to calculate as he was reading the Bible, because he was a good reader, and he came up to Daniel 8:14. He decided what came up to him is like Jesus was to come back after 2,300 days. That is what they call cleansing. And they thought that cleansing was the world was to be cleared. And what came out was that they thought that Jesus was to come in 1843 first. When they realized that Jesus did not come in 1843, because people were prepared, people sold their property and everything, waiting for him to come. And what they forgot is, if it was really from the Holy Spirit or the prophecy was right, they forgot to read the book where it says that nobody knows the day nor the hour. Anyway, when they realized Jesus did not come in 1843, they said then there was a confusion in the year, because they were counting downwards and there was a 0 year. So they said it should be in 1844. They still waited for 1844. It did not work. And among the team, we had Joseph Bates, Ellen G. White, and James White. They were members of that group. They were called the Millerites. When Jesus did not come in October 22nd, 1844, they all separated and there were divisions. That's where we have the Jehovah's Witness separating and many others, and the Seventh-day Adventists. One person known as Edson Hiram, while he was passing through his cornfield, because they had prayed and they were like, they would not even mix with people, because they were so confident that Jesus was coming on that particular day. So they wanted to find a way of a scapegoat. How are we going to tell people? Now, when he was passing through his cornfield, something just happened. He was stuck, and he looked up the heavens, and he said that I've gotten an answer. Jesus was not coming to us on earth. He was moving from one apartment to the other apartment in heaven to start what we call investigative judgment.
Interesting.
And that is the principle that the Seventh-day Adventists are using and clinging onto. So they believe that in 1844, Jesus moved from one apartment from the holy to the most holy place. And what he went to do is to start investigative judgment. And those are the pillars of the Seventh-day Adventists.
Yeah. From someone else, from someone outside of it, investigative judgment just sounds really weird, and like they just kind of fit it. They just kind of made that up. But I guess if you're part of it or you've grown up in it, I guess you kind of just accept it in a way.
No, I really, like me, I can tell you, I really accepted that. I preached about that, and I really defended that to the core. But now the problem comes here, because the Bible is very clear in Mark 16:19 that when Jesus went up, he sat on the right-hand side of God. So then how come in 1843 did he come out, then re-entered to the most holy? Because the throne is in the most holy, I believe. So that is the question. And again, when Stephen was being stoned, he looked up and the heavens opened. What did he see? He saw Jesus at the right-hand side. So at what point did Jesus come out of the whatever and again re-enter? So that was my question that was never and has never been answered.
That's a good
Yeah.
question. That's a good
Yeah.
question to ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and this has brought a lot of issues, by the way, because now people are starting to question. I wrote a book about Daniel 8:14. I
Mhm.
have shared it with my friends, and they're very, you know what they're telling me? There's some truth in that. So, you know, you cannot speak out openly, you know, because they, of course, pastors are well paid in the Seventh-day Adventist. So
Okay.
you have to take care of your salary.
Mhm.
And
Gotcha.
now, that is the time I had problems and I had to move out of the Seventh-day Adventist because
Okay.
one thing, they thought that I was teaching heresy. And because I was teaching heresy, they would not allow me in their pulpits. That was the end of my working with them, but we are still friends. And I told them, fine, because I now believe in this. From that point, I got a lot of things about keeping of the. Now, I moved because I wanted to have a landing. And the landing was Church of God Seventh Day. By the way, before I was ejected from the Seventh-day Adventist, I went to Google and see how many churches keep the Sabbath and all these things. I found 2 were almost to the standards that I wanted. One was Church of God Seventh Day, and the other one was Church of God International. And for one reason, I just looked at the logo once, and I was like, no, this is not the logo I want. So the logo put me out.
We got to work on that. We got to work on that logo, Jeff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I was like,
again, well, if you've kind of noticed, you probably don't see the logo much on our website anymore. We've kind of transitioned to some other branding as well.
Thank you. You know, by the way, my first look at it was like, wow, it doesn't look. It looks like something a skull and what. But then I went to the Church of God Seventh. They're very good people. I love them because they embraced me. They took me to Denver, Colorado, the headquarters. They gave me a lot of books because, you know, I really wanted a landing place. And I was still thinking about, I want Seventh Day to be in my whatever church I go, because then I did not want to let go the Sabbath. So that's how I went into the Church of God. Very good people. We started working with them. In fact, they told me to help them in doing a strategic plan for the church, which we did very well. And by the way, we went with them several places. I was with them in Myanmar, trying to teach our people, Church of God members there and pastors. So it was a good landing for me. Just the next clip.
All right.
Yeah, so this is one of the churches here in Dallas, in Melbourne, where I was preaching that time.
This is in Dallas with Church of God Seventh Day.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay.
Please.
All right.
Yes. Of course, they are Spanish speaking, so you must have a translator. So the other gentleman was translating for me.
Okay. Yeah, I think Church of God Seventh Day, from what I heard, the numbers are probably around 400,000, 500,000 worldwide. So it's quite a bigger church than a lot of Church of Gods.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Next clip. Yeah, now this is this was in Myanmar. Myanmar is in Burma, in Asia, so we'd gone there to have a meeting. We have my very good friend from Australia, John Classic.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was looking over there. That looks like John Classic.
No,
I met him.
John Classic, yes.
Yeah, I met John Classic in Florida before. Really nice guy.
Yes.
Where did you meet? What was he doing there, Jeff? What was
he was at the Common Faith Network Feast of Tabernacles.
Oh, okay.
Yes. By the way, he keeps the feasts. He keeps the feasts.
Oh, okay.
And we are always in contact with him.
Is that the guy on the extreme right sitting down, or the one next to him?
Extreme right sitting.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yes, I was there. Next clip. Now, when I realized that my brothers from the Church of God Seventh Day don't keep the feasts, I decided that I wanted to keep the feast, because this is one of the things that made me move up from the Seventh-day Seventh-day Adventists because they keep the camp meetings. And camp meetings, they do them at any time they feel like. So I really wanted to keep the feasts. And for me, this is the God's plan of redemption. So I realized it wasn't working. That is when I again started and said, okay, let me go back to the logo that I really didn't like. So I went back to Church of God International. And guess what? Everything that I had in mind, the statements of beliefs, is what I believed in. And I was like, these guys copied from my mind because I'd written some of these things and I thought, did they copy my notes about this? And then I said, okay.
One thing I want to mention, because you mentioned the beliefs of CGI, and I want to let a lot of people know out there that CGI, we've had these same statement of beliefs for the entire time that we've had the church of over 40-something years now. Getting close to 45 years. We've had those same statement of beliefs, and they're pretty solid. They're solid doctrinal beliefs that are backed up by Scripture. A lot of churches don't have that. You look at churches; they just kind of have these ethereal beliefs or whatever. But we got them out there, so I'm glad that that's something that you appealed to you, Robert, when you were looking.
Thank you so much. So I went into them again, started looking at them. I was so excited. In fact, I Googled and found. I sent to the headquarters that is in Tyler. Then I think I got Mike's communication. Then from that time we started communicating, and guess what? That things changed, and those were some of the meetings that we've been doing every month since that time until today.
All right. I have another question specific about the logo. So this is from Kilgore. It says, "What did you not like about the logo?"
No, the first look at it. Somebody asked me the other day. You look at the helmet. The helmet has something that is protruding up there. People really don't understand how a helmet should look like. I know it is about Ephesians, but at times when you look at it, and it does not really, the first impression, if you're not into Ephesians, you'll not understand that. So for me, the helmet and the what is protruding up there.
You thought we might be in the war or something, maybe.
Yes.
But you know what? A logo, that's just the least important part of a church anyhow. That's just something we have that is out there. That's
but look here, Jeff. When people are looking for places to land, the first thing they look at is they matter so much. The logo, what is in the logo, and they try to interpret in their own way before they get to know the correct one. So anyway, so that is what happened. We started with Mike. We talked with Mike, and I said, I think this is where I wanted to be. So our discussion went on. To cut the story short, after a short while, I started the MAP, MIP program. The MIP program in Stereo program is very good, and I loved it because, for me, I had all the time to go through it because I'd already undergone through my theological classes, and that would really help me understand very fast.
Let me just give Robert a plug. So of all my mentees that I've dealt with who have gone through the MAP or the MIP program, Robert finished his assignments quicker than anybody. So
model student. That's good to hear.
Thank you. And it's because I had already undergone through a theological training. And I really wanted to land and be somewhere. It's not easy to come out of the Seventh-day Adventist. Right. It's not easy. So I wanted to prove that I'm not lost. I've gone to a place where I can still serve my Lord. Because I used to serve in very high capacity. And I really wanted to show them, okay, you people think that I'm insane, think something has gone wrong. No, I've gone to the right place. So I finished my MAP, and after a very short time, there I was. Mike drove all the way from California just to come and ordain me. Is that?
Yeah, it was. I was going to fly, but there was a cancellation, and I had an extra day. So I said, I've been talking to this guy for a couple years. I got to get there. So I drove all the way, 2-day drive to Texas, and then I did fly back though. So
yeah. So that was a wonderful day. But with this, my wife was not with us, and I thought if my wife would be here, that would make a major difference. But they were clearly following everything, what was happening in Tyler. This was in Tyler. So from that time, I went back to my country, and I said that I want to do something. And what I started off doing it, the first time I went back, we had a baptism of 8 new members.
Wow.
These are the members that we baptized. These members wanted to be baptized long time ago, but all the time they would be told, no, don't, you are not ready. And I thought, this is not good at all.
Yeah.
Because I went back to the book of Acts, the Ethiopian eunuch, and when he was ready, he's the one who determined whether he wants to be baptized or not. God sent Philip there to help baptize, and there was no reason why you should stop people who are ready to get baptized. So this was my first group. We baptized them. Then after a very short while again, I baptized another 13 members. Yes, I baptized another 13 souls. Of course, the rivers that we baptize in are very scary. They are very scary, but our prayer
you got any snakes in those rivers, Robert?
Yeah.
Wow, of course, definitely.
Yeah.
But we have the protection of our Father all the time.
Right.
And that's what happens. So I baptized 13, but the most thing that makes me very happy and makes a difference in my heart is the last baptism that I made. This is the 7 baptized members, 5 of them being our school students. This is what we did during the Feasts of Tabernacles.
Okay.
And, it really touches my heart when students decide that it's time today, we want to get baptized. So after the feast, we baptized 7, and 5 of them were from Tabitha Outreach Foundation Academy, the school that we are supporting.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about Tabitha, Robert? Like, how's that work? Yeah.
Thank you so much. Tabitha Outreach Foundation, this is, okay, before I go there, let me just say this. I will tell you about the school. This is Kenya. I just wanted to show people where Kenya is. Kenya is in the eastern part. We have our presence in Ghana. Ghana is at the far west, where we have Robert Owosso and other people. Then right below us, that is Lake Victoria, we also have what we call Rwanda. Rwanda is where we have our brother Jean Cloud, who got an accident the other day, but he's recovering very, very well. Yeah, let me just put over phone here. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So our brother Jean got an accident and he broke his femur, but he's recovering very, very well. He's in Rwanda, where we have our presence there. So the next clip, we also have other places where we have contacts. And these are the places where we have the contacts. And the contacts in Uganda, we have a contact. Tanzania, we have a contact. Malawi, we also have a contact.
Let me explain real quick, Robert, what we mean by contacts. So what happens is I will, since I deal with Africa and Southwest Asia, I will get emails from individuals who are interested in Church of God International. Again, these places in Africa. And what we do is I'm sending them to Robert now to vet them. I will talk to them a little bit, get some background information. We ask them to read some of our booklets to see, are they really interested in us, or are they just looking for outreach for help and assistance in some way? Again, working with Robert makes my job a lot easier. Robert is kind of handling these people after initial vetting by me. I turn them over to Robert, and then he gets on the phone with them in these various countries. So we've had other contacts, but these contacts seem to be viable, and we've got a plan for Robert to get out in the field and visit these individuals we've established a relationship with. Let me turn it back to Robert.
Thank you so much, Mike. That is exactly what happens. And you know, with all these countries and contacts that we have, we are not very sure whether they are really there, because we've had a lot of scams coming on place. And there are people who tell you they have big churches and all this, but when you go on the ground, they do not have anything, but they are looking for money. So it's important for us to do the vetting and see whether they are there. We have genuine ones, so we can't brush out all of them. So when I go back to Kenya, I think I'll have time to visit them and also teach them, because they need to understand. It's not, you can't just read and understand. So we need, just like Paul used to do, it was to move and teach them what the Bible wants us to understand. But the ones that we are in and we are sure of is Ghana and Rwanda. Those ones we are sure of, and we would want to divide Kenya into eastern, western, and southern part, so that it's easier to operate. By the way, it's not easy to operate in Africa. Africa is not like US, where you can move from one state to another, just like I moved from New York, New Jersey, Delaware, all these places. It's not easy. When I move from one country to another, you need a visa. It is a different country altogether, different terrain altogether. The road network may be very, very bad. And that is the next clip and it's also very expensive to go around, because you can't use, if you're using your own car, like I normally, at times I use my car, it breaks down all the time because of the roads. The next clip.
Hey, Robert, yeah, we got a question here. I've got an answer to that, but Robert, what do you think when we deal with these individuals who are interested in CGI? Let's say of every 10 of them that we get in contact with, how many of them do you think are viable, are people that are really people we can work with out of every 10 or so?
Out of 10, 3.
Yeah, that's about what I would say about that. My estimate over the last couple of years I've been involved with the overseas ministries, it's about a 3 in 10 kind of percentage there. Yes.
So 30% are pretty much, they're genuinely interested in the church, and the others are just kind of looking for a handout.
Yeah, some of them. Robert has found con men because he's on the ground. He's actually proven to me that there were con men that I was dealing with early on. So.
Yeah,
and some of them, like we've been dealing with a guy from Tanzania. You know what happened with that guy? He's ended up calling us liars. So many things.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So
yeah, some of them get mad, and some of them get mad and start yelling at you.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is what happens. This is Kehancha. Kehancha is the place where I operate from. Kehancha, that's where we have our Bible school. That's where we put our office. And this is the western part of Kenya. And it's just around Lake Victoria in Migori region. And Nairobi is right at the middle. So it's around, Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. So it is like 270 miles from my home place. and the roads are very bad. Next clip. Now, this is
Whoa,
what happened
whoa.
Hey, Robert, you call that a road?
Yes, this is a road.
Yeah.
This is, I would want you guys to come and experience what I experienced. So that's
Wow.
you appreciate some of the things we are doing. It's important to see what happens in the world, because when you're only in America, you may think that things are like that. Go out and see how the terrain that we are moving along, it's very bad. My car breaks down almost every other time. You remember I was somewhere?
Yeah, I remember.
My car broke down.
Robert was out visiting some people we wanted him to visit, and the car got broken down on the road. We had to try to help him out to get back on the road.
Yeah, and there are times I've slept on the roadside because the road is so bad I can't move, I can't do. Then I just sleep in the car, and that's it. So that is how we do our business in Kenya and most African countries. The next clip. Yes, that is a road, Mike.
Okay.
Those are not people in a farm somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the road less traveled.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is our mode of transport, the motorbike, So where cars cannot pass, we still try to navigate through using such motorbikes, and that's how we do our work.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's no real major what we call highways between.
We do have, but they're not they're not well connected.
Right.
They're not everywhere.
Okay.
But most
Explain, Robert. Once you get out of Nairobi, the major cities like Nairobi, you start to run into this as you get out into the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, when I get out of Nairobi, that is when I start getting into that. And most of our churches, most of our congregations are right inside, where at times, you have to find your way out. And that's why reaching them is a bit difficult. And if roads are bad, then we do not have electricity. We do not have running water. We do not have, there are people who even survive on one meal a day, So when you're going to preach to such people, what do you do first? Do you start preaching on people who are hungry? No, you must find a way of feeding them first. So that's how it happens. Next clip now.
All right.
Now, we started a Bible school. And the Bible school basically.
And again, this is something you've done since in this year. This is all recently, yes.
Yes. So we started a Bible school simply because we wanted to equip people for ministry. And some of these students who are there come from different churches of God. We have others from Living. We have others from United. In fact, we have one from the Seventh-day Adventist Church who wants to know the truth. And that's how open we are, because this was supported by, thank you. I want to thank CEM for supporting us in doing some of these things, and even the machines for printing. That is
and just on that point, Robert, I think it's good to mention to everybody out there, since we've got a big Church of God community watching us, not just CGI folks, that CGI and CEM partnered to assist Robert in this school. The printing machines were purchased by CEM. CGI provided the funding to get the school up and running and continue in forward with the budget that we've provided for Africa each year for the last couple of years. And again, to Charles's credit, he bumped up the budget a little bit once he realized this was an expanding growth type of thing with Ghana, Kenya, and Rwanda. And how many churches are there now with CGI there in on the ground in Kenya, Robert? How many? We got about 12 groups or something?
We have more than 12 groups. We have more than 12 groups, and many, by the way, many of them want to join us. So I'm trying not to allow that to happen, because I don't want you to change from Living, that you want to come to CGI.
Yeah.
But what we want is to equip you with the right material, right information, and continue serving the congregation. Because when we look at the organizational, there are these people who would want to have the organizational names. We look at Christ as our savior. And so that's what, as Church of God, we are Church of God. So we don't have these boundaries. We don't put the boundaries. So we have been training. We have around 20 students. We have others who are Sunday keepers, and they want to be trained. So what we are doing is we have set a different day for them. When the class will be full, we'll start training them because they also want to know the truth. And we are open towards doing that. So
Great.
This is one of the schools that we have. We do not have any Bible school for the Churches of God in Kenya, or I don't know any in Africa yet.
Okay. So that school can serve all the different churches of God for training.
Yes,
so yeah,
yes.
very good, very good.
Yeah, the next clip. Now, okay, of course, this is where we have the office, CGI office, and this is where I sit and try.
Hey, Robert, you got the logo up there.
Eventually, I adapted it and I got to know what it means. I don't have a problem with it myself. Yeah, go ahead. Now, Mike, you asked me about Tabitha Outreach Foundation, and this is where I want to talk about it. Tabitha Outreach Foundation is a 501c in the US. And this one was started by the founder is Diane Webb and Mike Webb. Diane is a wife to Mike. Mike is a veteran. He was in the Vietnam War and he was injured. He's totally blind. But, they had a vision of helping people. He's a person who has the heart of helping. And now when they came together with Diane, they've been married for over 44 years now. And it's a wonderful family. By the way, I told you they've already adopted. I'm the baby in the house now. Whatever I want to do, I do anything. So they started this supporting kids in Kenya. And it started by doing a breakfast meal for kids who'd go without anything to school and stay the whole day. So it was like, let's help getting these kids with breakfast. And from breakfast, it has grown. It has grown, and now where we want to own our own school. They, at some 5, 6, 7, 9 months ago, they were supporting 43 high school students in 22 different schools. We said it's not going to work like that. Because
tell the folks a little bit about the type of kids that are there. What's the situation that those kids come to this school?
These kids are completely needy kids. They are orphans. Orphans, I mean, both parents have died, some of them. Some of them are kids who their either father or mother has died, but they are needy. These are the kids, but there are some who have both parents but cannot support them completely. So we do not put them away. And these are the kids. This is a uniform that was designed by Diane, and it's actually the best uniform we have in the city where we live. And everybody wants to associate with these kids. When they came to school the first day, some did not even have shoes. One kid came with one pair of shorts and a shirt. This boy would wash at night and wear in the morning. We didn't realize this for a full week. When we realized that, then we had to do something. So this is a completely transformed team. They were not even able to talk that time and now they are a family. That's what makes me very happy with this team. This is only now like 7-8 months when we picked them and decided, let's have all these kids in one school. That would help us in monitoring their performance, then in also feeding them, in having them celebrate the Sabbath, because they were not allowed to keep the Sabbath. Sabbath is not is not allowed. You are not allowed to keep Sabbath in these public schools. As much as you are given off for some schools, you can be told, okay, have your Sabbath for like 2 hours, then go back to class. But
Mhm.
we wanted our kids to keep the Sabbath as the Bible commands. And we have that. We have our kids keeping the feasts. And for the very first time, these kids kept the Feast of Tabernacles because we have
Wow.
full control over the school. So that is exactly what has happened. And I am their spiritual mentor. So we are doing a lot of things with them. That's how we got 5 of them baptized.
Now, where is the school exactly, Robert? Is it near your Conchacha area there, or where is it again?
Yes, thank you so much. The school is in Kehancha. Kehancha,
Okay.
Kehancha itself means love, to
Okay.
love.
Cool.
So
Now, how far away is it from the headquarters, like training school there? How far away are?
less than I think a mile, less than 1 mile.
Oh,
It's
so
very,
this
very
is
close.
very close. Okay,
It's-
good.
And it's also not very far from my home anyway.
Okay.
Okay, well, good.
So most of the time I can walk there and come back. So the
Mhm.
next clip,
That's all I have.
that's what you have. There was
Yeah.
another one which you did not put on board. But anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
what happened is this school, when we wanted to look for a place to put the kids, we could not get. And this started when one day Diane and Mike were driving down Longview. Then a phone call comes from Kenya. A girl candidate who was sitting for her grade 12 exam had been chased away to go and bring $50. Diane bangs she was driving at high speed, then not really high speed, but the required speed in the US, required speed is high speed in Kenya. So she banged the dashboard. And I was like, what's happened? Then she said, this nonsense must stop. Then I was like, what nonsense? Then she looks at me and tells me, do you know what? One of our kids has been chased away from school and they want $50. And we had completed everything. So she told me, what does it take for us to start a school? Simply because she was driving fast and I did not want to offend her, I told her, look here, it is as easy as, we can do that very fast. I was just trying to cool her tempers because she was driving. I didn't want to confuse her again.
Mhm.
So we started thinking about starting our own school. And we thought that homeschooling would work. We contacted a few friends in Nairobi, but again, we realized it would be very expensive. Then we scouted out looking for other places. It could still not work out. But on the last day, when we were like, the schools were about to open, one of my uncles, who is in Kenya, had a friend, and this friend had a school that was almost closing down. The school only had 5 students. And here we were looking for a school. Then he tells my uncle he wants to close down. My uncle calls me and asks me, did you say that you wanted a school? I told him yes.
Wow.
And turned to this guy and asked him, did you say that you want to close your school? He said, yes. Then you guys sit and agree. In like less than 5 minutes, we had struck a deal.
Wow.
And if that is the miracle, that is one of the miracles that God gave us. In 2 weeks, we were supposed to bring all the 43 kids together in one school. We did, all the paperwork was done, and we had the school in place in 2 weeks. Then from there, we started growing and growing, but the owner did not want to sell the school to us. Of course, we really wanted our own, and we could not do any development because it's not our school.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So what happens is, when we were almost closing, we tried to look for some parcels to do our own school where we have full control, but it was very expensive.
Mhm.
When we were almost closing the school, the guy calls me and tells me, look here, come. Did you say that you wanted a school? Yes. Give me money because you guys have done very well. Then I looked at him and said, do I really have the money? But if I told him I don't have the money, he would tell somebody else. And if somebody else buys the school, then we'll be chased away from the school. So what do? I looked up and said, okay, I have the money. And do you know who has the money? My Father. God has the money. And he has given money to some people out there. What remains is for me to go and collect the money. So
sounds like faith to me.
Yeah.
Yes. So I told him, yes, I have the money. When he told me, give me the money, I told him, okay, because of transactions and transferring things, and we have to do them in a legal way, give me like 1 month or 2 months, I'll collect all the money and I'll give you the money.
Okay.
And you know, that's how I came to the US. And I've been looking and getting the money that God gave his people so that I go and buy the school. And guess what? People are responding.
Wonderful.
Positively.
Wonderful.
And we've been looking for subscribers. We call them subscribers. Subscribers, these are people who subscribe to us, and we give out the money. So I want to thank God, because everywhere we go, people are very positive, and people are willing to help us. We are even coming up with new team of board management, people who are ready to help us manage this, because all along Diane and Mike have been doing it, and you know, Diane got COVID.
Oh.
And kids cried back at home because you know them, they know Diane, and they were like, what if anything bad happens to Diane? Then that is the end of our story. And we told them, they prayed seriously. And here, God worked his miracles. We've been moving with Diane from New York, driving all along. Last Sabbath, we were down at Houston. Then I'll be leaving for Ohio. I'll be with Jim O'Brien on Sabbath. Then I'll be with Jeff in Kentucky.
Yeah, so yeah, look forward to that.
Yeah,
at the Winter Family Weekend. So, you're going to be giving a presentation about what you're doing at there as well?
Yes, I'll have some time there.
Wonderful.
Very good.
So that has been my story, Mike and Jeff.
Yeah, that's quite the story, because I mean, you know, when you were here earlier this year, none of that had happened. You know, we talked to you and you told us your background, and so you're really good at getting things done. Would be my assessment of it. Really, praise God that he's working through you to get those things done there.
I thank God because you know he's behind what we are doing. And guess what? My dad was sick, and I told you guys, my dad was seriously sick when I was coming over, and I was almost postponing my trip. Then he looked at me and told me, my son, I know you may want to postpone your trip, but because you are going to do God's mission, you go. If you find me alive, perfect. If you find me, I've done my bit with you. So when I was here a week ago, actually a week and a half ago, my dad was very sick and he went to high dependence unit. And this is my brother who follows me. I really respect that gentleman for what he's doing. He took him to hospital. My mom is also sick. They are all in my brother's house. My dad is on oxygen. And they tell me, now, so my sister calls me and tells me, you need to come back and help our brother here, because seemingly things are bad. My daughter visits my dad in hospital, and she says, my dad is confused. He can't communicate. So I look at him, they do like a video, I look at him, then I think I need to go back home. Then the following day, my dad becomes much better. 2 days later, he's out of high dependence unit. Wow. Then the other day, he's in the general ward.
Oh.
Guess what? Yesterday, I talked with my dad and we laughed. He's out of hospital.
Oh,
Fantastic,
wonderful!
man.
Praise God.
Because I
That's
remember I
amazing.
hadn't gotten the latest. I remember the last
Mhm,
time we spoke, he wasn't
Yeah,
doing
mhm,
well. So
mhm.
thanks for that update, man.
he
Yeah.
laughed.
So,
We laughed, and I told him, I'm not sure whether I'm talking with you. And he told me, no, it's me. And he asked me about the progress that I'm having here. And I told him everything is okay, Dad. And he told me, do your work.
mhm.
Nice, nice. Do the
Uh,
work, man. Do the
yeah.
work. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's good having you on the show today, Robert. Well, I wish we could do it more often. If we get a high connection out there in Kenya, maybe we can bring you on from there. I don't know how fast the internet is out
We will
there for
try.
that.
I think we need to try because I have internet in the office now,
Mhm.
and we need to try it once and see how it works.
Yeah, I think we should try that, and because I know our regular viewers and listeners would definitely like to have you on some more, and we know your background. We can talk about some of the things you know specifically doctrinally, maybe that makes us different from Seventh Day Adventists or other things and things you know to consider in the Church of God. So definitely, very very good having you a part of the program today.
And I would love to welcome everybody in Kenya. Please come to Africa. And see, this is the only place where the Ten Commandments were handed over. This is the place where Jesus, it was a refuge for Jesus when things were so bad, when King
Mhm,
Herod wanted to kill him. And this is where this person who helped Jesus carry the cross came from. So Africa
mhm,
is an important place. Please
mhm.
welcome back home.
Yeah, there's a feast site every year in Kenya now. So if anybody wants to go,
Mhm.
Robert's email is the way to get in touch with him.
Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Again, thank you, Robert. Do you anything you want to say before we end today?
I just want to thank everybody because especially the reception that I've gotten in the US, I feel like I'm at home. And people are so loving and kind, and people want to support our mission. And please, let's all remember to get hold of the stem instead of the branches. The
Mhm.
stem is Jesus Christ. Let's not look at the branches. The branches are the different denominations,
Mhm.
different, like we have the names behind this. Let's
Yeah,
look at Jesus Christ. And
yeah.
that's what I normally say when people ask me, which church are you in? I tell them, I'm part of the body of Jesus Christ.
That's a very good answer. Very good answer. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank everyone out there who's participated with us live in the comment section. And again, you can send any comments you want to or questions to Robert. There's Robert's email address on sondorobert@gmail.com. And hopefully Robert will look forward to those comments from
And
you.
probably last thing I forgot, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
If anybody wants to support our program, what we are doing about Habitat Outreach Foundation, just go to our website. That is the website. And in the
Mhm.
website, we have the donation button. And the moment you go to the donation button, there's the payable, and all the way, your money will be safe in our hands. And you can, if you want to write a check, just write and it will come to Avenger. And I think we also have, if you go to the website, you'll find the communications through. God bless everybody.
Yep, yep. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens by next year in Kenya. So
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have some good things going on there. All
Mhm.
right. Again, thank you for joining us. Thank everybody out there for joining us today. We'll see everybody next time on another edition of Prove All Things. Goodbye, everyone.